Hi, 3rd and 4th grade, Mr. Cleghorn here for another round of history. So let's go. Alright, today you're going to turn in your books to page 66. We're going to be talking about the colony of Georgia. Now before we get started, we're going to do some review. Now remember, we were talking about Virginia. Last time we were talking about Virginia, Maryland, and North and South Carolina. Now, what did Virginia call its representatives? It was called the House of Burgesses. Perfect. And what colony was intended to be a refuge for Catholics? That's right, it was Maryland. And do you remember what North and South Carolina were called when they were one colony? Carolina, of course. And the name of the valuable blue dye produced in South Carolina? That's right, it was indigo. Alright, so we're going to talk about Georgia. Who do you think Georgia's named after? Well, let's go find out. England, 1732. And remember, we're on page 66. England's last colony, Georgia. England, 1732. The people of London, England were excited. Over 100 years had passed since England had begun its first successful colony in the New World. Since 11 other colonies had been struggled to succeed. Now, news was spreading that England was about to begin its 13th colony for a reason completely different from the new colonies. The thought of it made many people in England willing to donate food, supplies, and money to send to the new colonists on their way. At the time, there were many poor people in England who were willing to work but could not find jobs. If a person was too poor to pay the bills, he was placed in prison. Of course, he couldn't do anything to pay his bill once he was in jail, unless he was fortunate enough to find someone he knew that was willing to pay his bill for him. He would spend the rest of his life in prison. In the 1700s, England prisons were crowded with poor people. Prisons in those days were dark, dirty, cold, and wet. Diseases spread quickly, and many prisoners died. The jailers, whose job it was to look after the prisoners, would often beat their prisoners and rob them of what little they did have, even their food. Many prisoners starved to death. Indeed, England's prisons were dreadful, hopeless places. James Oglethorpe. James Oglethorpe was a member of the English government, and he studied the problems of poor people. Though through his help, many were released from prison, yet they faced the struggle of finding jobs. If only those people could go to America, thought James Oglethorpe, there would be plenty of work for them to do there. However, there was one problem with that idea. How could these poor people earn enough money to pay their way for a ship to America? The King of England heard Oglethorpe's idea, and he liked it. The land below South Carolina is unsettled, thought the king. Spain has a colony in Florida. If England does not settle the land between Florida and South Carolina, Spain will. The king made some decisions. I will appoint 21 men who will work without pay. They will choose the people who will go to the new colony. They will plan, set laws for the new colony to follow. They will govern the new colony. The English government gave this group of men $50,000 to use in settling the colonists up to the New World. When the people of England heard, many donated food and supplies for the colonists. Churches gave money. The new colony would be named Georgia in honor of King George II. James Oglethorpe went to the 114 colonists who were chosen to go to the first ship sent to Georgia. He became a great friend with the colonists. On board the ship, he visited the sick, and he helped the colonists in whatever way he could. In February 1733, Oglethorpe and his colonists arrived in Georgia, and Oglethorpe became the first governor. In many ways, he was a wise, brave, kind governor. He made lasting friendships with the Indians who he had bought the land. In exchange for his gifts, the Indians presented him with buffalo robe lined with eagle feathers, saying, "The eagle signifies swiftness, and the buffalo strength." The English are swift as a bird to fly over the vast seas, and as strong as a beast before their enemies. The eagle's feathers are soft and signify love. The buffalo's skin is warm and means protection. Therefore, love and protect our families. And we're going to stop there. We'll continue on the next part, part 2.